There's a call again to introduce 5 substitutes. The thought of what do you think about that, especially of the way the season's been crammed in with the fixtures. They might be picking up a few more injuries here and there. You know, the stress-related injuries and the tears and that. What do you think?
I think if that decision was made, it should have been made 10, 11 games ago, whatever the number is. I'm reluctant to do it now, midway through, or a third of the way through the season, quarter of the way through the season, whatever it is. I think that changes the integrity of the competition. That's my thoughts. Because you've got 2 managers at the top who've got more players than anyone, bleating on about injuries that have been contact injuries. Everyone, all right, let's fall in line. You know, the Messiah and the German Messiah, the Spanish Messiah and the German Messiah spoke, so it must be right. We've had this many games for the last 10 years. So, look after your players better. That's my thoughts.
Just are you not seeing any extra injuries then? Do you think it's just like an averaging itself out?
Yeah, no. We've had, I think the last 3 weeks, we've had 2 games on the same day, 3 times, I think, with the 23s. We've got 29 pros. We play 50-odd first-team games and 30 under-23 games with 29 players. We play 80-odd games with 29 players. We're constantly playing games. We're used to it. So, does it make it right or wrong? That's not the point. The point is we've been doing it for a while and we've not seen greater injuries. We've just got recovery modalities that are probably better, or we are more aware of them, or we give them more respect, or whatever you want to. That doesn't mean to say that we won't get injuries in the future. Of course we will. But I think it's very, very rich for Premier League clubs to say that they want more players. I think, you've got a 25-man squad. Oh, yeah, well, we've got 6 injuries. And? They're having to play young kids at Liverpool centre-half. Good. That's why you put them in the Premier League squad in August. Don't complain now, you've got to use them. Or buy some more, because I'm sure you could afford to buy some more.
Next point, the rescue package for the EFL clubs looks as though it's very closer now to coming towards the League One and League Two clubs and the Championship clubs. We had Charles Grant on the radio this week speaking about how Crewe is and how he feels it's going, and fingers crossed, with the way that the new board's set up, they look to be in control. But this rescue package can only help, Dave.
Yeah, I'm sure it can. I don't know the ins and outs of it. I don't know as with any deal like this, the devil's in the detail. Always is. And I don't know the details. So on the face of it, it seems a good thing. Nobody wants to see any club going out of business. And whether the reports that 10 clubs aren't paying the players this month are true or not, I don't know. But if it makes football clubs survive, then it's, as long as the detail isn't, sort of highly restrictive going forward, then it's got to be a good thing.
Well, let's look forward then, because Peterborough are coming next. I could use the question, you've got a top fixture coming up. I've been probably saying that for the last 2 months, but it is another one. It's one of them that I think when I've checked it out, all the top 6 that will include Peterborough after you've played them tomorrow, you've played a lot of them.
Yeah, we saw a stat this week that said we've had the second toughest opening 10 games of any team in the league. Which is fine, we've got to play more. That's not a complaint, it's just an observation. And Peterborough, another team. I said earlier on the week that we used to play in the teams who are riding high in the league. And so far we've been given a good account of ourselves. We haven't got the results that we should have had. But the performances have been there, and whatever the performances are there, you're always hopeful. I've certainly got the belief that the results will follow, because, like I said, the performances are there. So if we don't perform, sure as eggs, we won't win the game because it's the top of the league and they're going well. But we also know that we've gone to Ipswich and battered Ipswich, but lost. So it's a case of taking our chances and playing the same way. And if we do that, then we'll give anyone a game.
He's made an interesting point, because I know you know Peterborough quite well, because we know what the chairman thinks of how you run your football club. And we'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. But I picked up an interesting quote from Darren Ferguson. I don't know whether you've seen it. I know it's a busy time for you ahead of the game, but he's saying you're the best footballing side in League One. Now, that is interesting, isn't it? That's coming from a manager who's bringing his team top of the table to you.
He's a good manager, isn't he? He knows his stuff. Do I think we're the best footballing team? Well, the league doesn't suggest that. The table doesn't suggest that. Do I think we're in a false position? Yes. But until you get results and points on the board, then it's all hyperbole at the end of the day. I don't disagree with Darren, but then the cynics amongst both sets of fans and the wider community will both say, well, you're going to say that because you're the crew manager. Well, I am going to say that, yeah. Do I believe it? Well, I do believe it, as it turns out. And it isn't just propaganda that's coming out of my mouth. Have we got to prove it in results? Of course we have. And until we do, then people have got every right to be critical of it. I do think we're heading in the right direction. I do think if we take our chances, more of our chances, then that will be reflective in that opinion of me and Darren. So we know what we've got to do. I'm sure Darren knows what he's going to come up against. It'll be another good game. You know, I'm certainly not getting sick and tired of watching these good games of football. It's a far cry from some of the whack-it ball that we saw last year. So, you know, I hope it's a good game of football again, and I hope we take our chances and we come out with a positive result.
Well, he said exactly the same. He'd watched those 3 games where you've lost 1-0. He said you could have won 5 on 2 of them and should have won the other game. But since then, while you were struggling for goals in them little spell, you've scored 6 in your last 2 games. But you've got to not be open. I'm pretty sure that's something that you've tried to get into your players. You don't want it to be that open, especially your defending areas.
Yeah, well, I think you've got to get that fine balance. I do. I think, and that balance is sometimes tricky to get. But we had it last year. I think we've improved distinctly at one end of the pitch, and we've got to just make sure we get back to the levels that we got to last year at the other end of the pitch. And if we do that, we'll have that nice balance. The good thing is we've gone sort of from one end of the pitch to the other end of the pitch to rectify it, and we're just going to get that nice balance now.
Just going back to Peterborough and their chairman, they do follow crew, don't they? They're aware of what you do. You've had quite a bit of chats with them over players, and he's even made a point, hasn't he? He'd love to try and take a couple more down to London Road.
I think he said 5, didn't he, in his podcast, 5 or 6.
Yeah.
But they're good people, the football people. You know that. You know, how many chairmen do you know that does a football podcast? You don't do that if you're not a football person. You know, Darren Ferguson's he's a fantastic manager in his own right. He's the son of probably the greatest manager that's ever been. You know, Barry Fry, he's been at that football club, you know, for 365 years. So what they don't know, the senior management and the owners of that football club is probably not worth knowing about. So they're good people, you know, so they know the stuff, and we're looking forward to welcoming them and, you know, and having a chat with them and seeing where they're up to and wishing them all the best. We just hope that we've got 3 points. Yeah,
it's a game, isn't it? Can't wait for 3 o'clock, I think. I'm just feeling that now. You know, I know there's no fans there. We talk about that, but you've built it up well, and so it should be.
It'd be another good game. You know, you can't say anyone who's. And I know some of the results haven't been favourable lately in the league, but you can't tell me anyone who's not paid their tenner, any crew fan that's paid their tenner, hasn't got value for money. They've seen some excellent football. They've seen some real skill. We've just got to make sure we get the result at the end of the day as well.